I've unhauled some books and redone my shelves to get ready for this series. I have hundreds of unread books on my physical TBR, so it's time to make a dent in that huge number to really create my shelves to showcase the books that I truly love. I'll be using the TBR jar to randomly choose the books I'm going to read each week, so let's get into it and see what we pick for today's episode of my Bookshelf Ultimatum. Hey, it's Ruby. Welcome to episode 3 of Bookshelf Ultimatum. Today we're going to be doing things a little differently because I did have someone comment that she thought it would be cool if we truly chose these at random, so that's exactly what we're going to do. I have them loosely sorted in here, all the books on my physical TBR. Into genres, we have blue, which is fantasy sci-fi, pink, which is romantasy, yellow is romance, green are thrillers and horrors, and then the dreaded orange, literary fiction and historical fiction. So today we're truly gonna do a random assortment, but first let's recap the rules, how it goes. So if by the end of the reading vlog I did not finish a book, I DNF it, I have to unhaul it. If I rated it under 3 stars, I have to unhaul it. With the caveat that if it's part of a series, I may keep it if I think that I might actually enjoy the series as a whole. So let's go ahead and pick our books and hope for the best. Hopefully, it would suck if I got like 5 orange papers. I would literally just dissolve on the spot, but let's choose. So first up we have blue, which is sci-fi and fantasy, or fantasy and sci-fi. My favorite of the bunch. I love getting you guys, no freaking way, we got Gideon the Ninth, and it says, I don't know if you can see it, but it's like Gideon plus and then the Ninth. This was part of a previous Bookshelf Ultimatum video, but I guess we're going to be going on to book 2, Harrow the Ninth, which I'm excited about. I feel like with these we're still going to be able to talk about them because from what I hear, they're all kind of different. So let's find Harrow the Ninth. Here it is, Harrow the Ninth. The way that I am like so excited to have gotten this, which I guess a little spoiler alert, I loved the first one, Gideon the Ninth, so much. I'm excited for this. Necromancers in space. We're following Harrow. Of course, we're going to talk about them all a lot more as we go, but so far so good for our first pick. So let's see what's going to be our second pick. Let's see. Yellow, which is romance. I'm okay with romance. I've always been cool with it. It's just like an easy time, fast read. I'm trying to open it and struggling. Happily Never After. I think that's by Lynn Painter, right? Yeah, here it is. Happily Never After. It is a really short book, which is a good thing because I always film videos simultaneously. This is under 300 pages, so I'm here for it. It says their name, the objectors. Their job, to break up weddings is hired. Their dilemma, they just might be in love with each other. Romance is predictable, but I'm here for it. Let's see. Our third pick. Let's see what it is. Our third pick is gonna be pink. Wow, we've been getting different genres. I probably just jinxed it, but this one says Belladonna series. Oh my god, that's a good one because we're going into fall. We're going into spooky season. I feel like Belladonna is perfect for this. Honestly, I've been dying to read this. I've been putting it on TBR since like last year and I never got to it, but I will be getting to it now. Wisteria, the 3rd book, has come out. I was at Barnes, hence the upcoming, or maybe you probably will see the book called before you see this. But yeah, I was at Barnes and I saw Wisteria, but I really wanted just the regular edition with the blue because the Barnes has white instead, and I am a sucker for blue books. So Belladonna is our romantasy pick, which is it YA? I think it's also YA. Going on to number 4. Number 4. Let's see. This one. The orange, the dreaded orange. But dang, we have gotten one from each one. This one says no. It's The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, which, listen, it's probably going to be an amazing book, but it's a long book. It's historical fiction. All things that I don't love. But I do own this because it's freaking beloved. Kristen Hanna is beloved. I said that weird. Kristen. This one's at the very tip top because I own like 5 historical fiction books. So let me get it. Man, it is long. It is definitely long. It is 567 pages long. I got this at a thrift store. It was in amazing condition, and I picked it up because, like I said, it is so beloved, and I hope that I love it. I hope that I now want to read all Kristen Hanna books, and that this is like the first historical fiction ever that I'll love. Let's hope. Let's hope. Let's see. That was 4. So our very last pick for this week. Will we get lucky and get the green pick? I mean, they're in there somewhere, but they're in there. So let's really dig for this one and see if we get the green pick. No, we got pink. Dang. So no thrillers or horrors this week. Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco. Wow. This is just shaping up to be either the best one yet, or I could be greatly disappointed, because these are a lot of books that I have been looking forward to reading, and if I don't love them, heartbreak. Throne of the Fallen. Wow, I'm finally getting to this. If you didn't catch one of my latest reading vlogs, although again, like I said, I don't know when you're gonna see this, but I posted a reading vlog where I was finishing a bunch of series, and I finished the Kingdom of the Wicked one to get through this one, to get to this one, I should say. And I'm ready for it because I heard that Kingdom of the Wicked was mid, and it very much was mid for me. Like, I could have done without it, but everybody says that this one is really good. Throne of Secrets has probably come out by the time you see this. Maybe. Or will be coming out. And I intend to get the Fairyloot edition. I hope that I get one. It's blue. It's beautiful. I love blue books. How many times am I going to say that? But I do. I love them. So I am so excited. So excited for this week. Let's recap what we got. We got Throne of the Fallen. We got Belladonna, which are our 2 romantasy picks. Our historical fiction pick is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. And then we got a romance pick, which is fairly short, which is good because it's going to help me. Happily Never After by Lynn Painter. And then we have our fantasy sci-fi pick, Harrow the Ninth. Listen, this can be an amazing, amazing week. What do we start with? I think we're gonna start with Belladonna, because honestly, it's the one that I'm the most excited about from the bunch, which is saying something. And I think it's because I've been waiting for this for so long. I've put it on so many TBRs and I never got to it. Let's do it. Time for an update, but it's not going to be on Belladonna. I did start Belladonna. It's so beautiful. I started it and I'm on chapter 5. I read 40 pages of it. It's reading incredibly quickly. So I'm excited for this. I think I'm really gonna like it. But like I said, I don't feel like I know enough yet to talk about it. However, I'm someone that always reads multiple books at the same time. I never used to do this, but I definitely do now. And that's because I typically always am reading a physical book or an ebook and then listening to an audiobook also while I do other things where I just can't be sitting there. So last night I saw that Happily Never After was actually available on audiobook, so I picked it up and I literally listened to this for hours while I was playing The Sims 4. And it's such a short little book. It's less than 300 pages. I think the audiobook said it was like 7 hours, but I always speed up my audiobooks because they're just too slow. If you just leave it at one time speed, I feel like it's too slow. Like I'm like, okay, get on with it. So I listened to this, and then Butters and I went on a walk and we finished this. So yeah, this was such a quick little read. I feel like it gave me what I needed. I feel like it wasn't amazing, it wasn't terrible, it was very much just a book that I read and I'll probably never read again. And honestly, I'm already starting to forget, which sounds bad. But listen, what is this book about? In this, we follow Sophie and Max. And I feel like it reads so absurd. Like, I don't see this happening in real life, but I think that's what I like about romances. And I think I talked about it in a previous bookshelf ultimatum, the one where we read 28 Summers, where that stuff, kind of women's fiction, literary fiction, reads so real to me that I don't like that. I like escapism, which is why fantasy is my favorite genre. But with romance, it typically, like, I never go in here thinking that these are two real people and like this is something that's happening. And that's how I felt about this. It's just like goofy, silly, absurd kind of, but I'm into it for the time being. And so yeah, we follow Sophie and Max, and at the beginning of the book, if you read the back of the book, it's literally gonna tell you the whole book. So maybe don't do that if you wanna go into it blind. But at the beginning of the book, we meet Sophie and she's getting married. She's literally at the altar about to get married. Very much happy, and I don't know, you know, just all the feelings you get when you're getting married. All of a sudden, somebody stands up and objects to their marriage, and she does not see it coming. She's like, what the hell? Just like everybody else. And he basically breaks up the wedding, and naturally they go and they talk, and she's like, what is happening? And he tells her everything that he knows about her soon-to-be husband, and the wedding doesn't happen. So she ends up calling it off. She ends up that night getting super drunk, as one would. If you find out all this shit about your husband, obviously you're not going to be in a good spot. And he ends up kind of taking care of her. They get to know each other a little bit more, and she gets to know about what he does. He's actually essentially a wedding crasher. He calls himself an objector, and it's like a little side hustle that he does where he gets hired by random people to break up a wedding for so many different reasons. Like, we do see a couple weddings that they break up, and some of them are for, you know, the generic, like he was cheating. Some of them are a little different, and they end up teaming up because she's really intrigued by his job, and she ends up teaming up with him. They become a team, so they're doing all these different wedding crashes, objecting together. And it's just, you know, like I said, it's a goofy, silly time. What you think is gonna happen happens. I'm gonna go ahead and continue on with Belladonna. I did get Throne of the Fallen on audiobook, but I'm gonna push through with Belladonna for now because, like I said, it was good. I was interested, so let's see how this goes. Belladonna check-in. So I have been listening to the audiobook of this, and I enjoyed the audiobook. I've got to say, it's definitely helped me get through this because I feel like not a lot's happened. I feel like it's kind of slow. That being said, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it because I think that I like the characters so far, and I am starting to get a little curious about the murder mystery we have going on in here. So in this, we follow Signa, and Signa, Poor girl. Signa has been just having the worst time of her life, literally. She thinks that she's cursed with death being constantly around her because everybody around her ends up dying, and because of this she gets a reputation and people don't want to be around her. She gets passed from family member to family member because her parents are deceased, and her parents left her this huge like fortune that she's set to inherit, but it's not time yet. I forgot how old she has to be before she gets it. It's not far off, but she still doesn't have access to it, and she still has to be living with a family member. And throughout her life, family members have stepped up to take care of her, but it's just because they get like a stipend, some money. And yeah, they're just really shit people. Like there has not been a single person other than her grandmother, who died of old age, who has been kind to her after her parents passed. And so she's been living just a terrible life. The latest family member taking care of her in the beginning of the book ends up also dying, which it's not a secret. Like, she's gonna die right away, girl. So she ends up dying, and Signa knows that she's different. She knows that something's going on with her because she can see spirits, she can see ghosts, and she knows that death is always around. Eventually death ends up personifying himself, but she never really sees him, at least not to this point, and I'm a little bit over halfway. She just sees him as like this kind of like a personified shadow, but she doesn't know what he looks like or anything like that. That's how she talks to him, and he ends up telling her that she is special and that they are linked in some sort of way. So she has this just strained relationship with death because she feels like he's the one killing all her family members. She ends up moving to live with this distant family member, and she becomes his ward. So she ends up meeting her cousins. She has two cousins, Blythe and the other guy. I forgot his name. It really doesn't matter. Percy. Yeah, Blythe and Percy. And she is happy there. So she doesn't want to mess things up. She tries really hard to be a proper lady because she is going to be presented into society. I really like that. We have the Bridgerton vibes where they are members of society, and she will be presented so that she can find a husband, and she has to deal with the ton and all that. So there's that. And then there's also this other guy who is the stableman, I don't know, of the Hawthorns, and she is attracted to him. His name is Silas, and they've teamed up because there's this murder mystery plot going on. They're trying to figure out two things, and I feel like we still don't have any answers. We have met pretty much, all the people around her, and we have ideas of who it might be, but I really don't know who it would be at this point. It's just like they're pointing you to the obvious bad guys or the obvious suspects, but we don't know yet who it truly is. Oh my goodness, I am done with Belladonna, and let me just say that last little bit was really good. All in all, this was a pretty slow book. I felt like not a whole lot was happening throughout the book in general. It was a little slow, but I was never bored, which is saying something, because I felt like really like a lot of stuff didn't happen, and it was very murder mystery. She was trying to figure out a murder and then stop another one from happening. In the end, all the people I thought it might be, it was not them. So either I'm dumb or I wasn't paying attention enough. In the end, we get the romance aspect. It's really not super present. Like, I feel like the romance didn't take over the story. That could just be me, but I didn't feel like it did. But I really did like it. I like Signa and Death. And if you read this, then you know at the end we get a new character entering the picture, and I'm curious to see how book 2 Foxglove is gonna play out. Obviously, we're gonna switch locations because Signa is planning to go to Foxglove, which is her family home. Now that she's 20, she's inherited her fortune. Now she gets to go to Foxglove. And I'm just curious because I feel like I don't know enough. I need to know more. Is she gonna wait it out till she dies and then come into her powers and all that fully? Seemingly that's what I'm thinking is gonna happen, but what's gonna happen with the new character? Are they bad? Are they good? Are they neutral? I feel like I need to read book 2 already. We've finished Happily Never After. We finished Belladonna. What do we move on to now? I think it's either going to be Harrow the Ninth or Throne of the Fallen, because I'm going to leave the Nightingale to the end. Me and historical fiction, we're not friends, so we're going to leave that one to the end. I'm kind of still in the mood for romantasy, so I think we're going to move on to Throne of the Fallen and then Harrow the Ninth. I think that's the way we're going to go. I did start Throne of the Fallen a while back, and I soft DNF'd it because I was in the middle of too many books. But I'll pick it back up, and I'm going to be reading it physically. I don't have the audio anymore. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with this. I'm happy with how it ended, and I just feel like as I read more of this series, trilogy, I will like it more. But let's move on to Throne of the Fallen, and we're gonna switch from death to sins, Princess of Hell. So that's just gonna keep the party going. So Throne of the Fallen, I didn't do any updates because I just wasn't loving it. I felt like I just was trying to push through and finish it, which took me by surprise because the way that everybody talked about this, I thought I was gonna love it. I thought it was gonna be like a new fave, a potential 5-star, but I just was kind of bored throughout the first 3 parts. This is told in parts, and I feel like I wasn't actually invested until I got to part 4, which I'm trying to find where part 4 is, so that you can see when I finally got invested. But yeah, it wasn't that interesting to me. I will say that I am very thankful that I read the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy first. And I know a lot of people said you don't have to read that first, like you can just read this as a standalone, and that is true, you can. Just read this. Jeez, I can't find it. There we are. So this is where part 4 starts. So obviously there was a whole lot of just like, I mean, I just felt like it was dragging a little bit or a lot of it. But yeah, I feel like I was very thankful that I read the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy first, because you get introduced to everyone and you get backstory and you get info on like who everybody is and why they are the way they are. Especially like in this, we see Victoria again, and then we see Pride, which is Envy's brother. And I feel like if you just read this, you wouldn't really know what's going on or like why they are the way they are and going through what they're going through unless you had read the trilogy first. So essentially you don't have to, but I feel like you definitely should. It would elevate the reading experience if you did. Anyway, so what happens in this? In this we follow Prince Envy. In the first trilogy we follow Prince Wrath, who is the king of all demons. But in this, we follow his brother Envy, and we do see the other brothers, but very little. Not like with Kingdom of the Wicked, that we did see them and like interact with them a little bit more. They're there, but very little. So we do see all their characters that we have already met. We see the vampires, we see, I don't think we see the werewolves again, but we do see the demons, and now we're in the mortal world. I think the only ones we don't see in the first trilogy is the fae. In this, we do have the fae. In the first one, we had witches, and in this one, it's different. There are no witches, but we have fae. And in this one, we follow Prince Envy, who at the beginning of the book, we find out like he's going through something. His circle, his House Envy is in trouble, and we don't know why. We don't know how it happened or why it happened or anything in the beginning. We just know that the house is in trouble. It's essentially falling apart, and he is very much weakened. He's not at full power, and like I said, we just don't know why, but we know that he is in this game, and seemingly he hints that it is a fake game, and they let you know right away that it is a fake game that he has to play. And he believes if he wins this, he'll be able to save his House Envy. So he's been waiting forever. I think he waits 10 years. And finally, the game starts. And one of the clues leads him to our FMC, Camilla. He has to get her to agree to paint this hex object for her. And she says no repeatedly because hex objects are dangerous, and she just doesn't want to do it. She just wants to live her quiet little life in Waverly Green, which is a mortal realm, and she's part of society. It's very that like Bridgerton Regency aspect where the ladies are presented to society and they have to be demure and like mindful of all the things that they do, because if not, scandal, and they'll be ruined forever. It's that vibe, which I like. So she meets him, and he is pretending that he's immortal and that he's like a duke or something. But she's taken with him because he's super hot. And yeah, so they kind of quit back and forth, and he finally convinces her to do that for him. And then she's got her own thing going on. She's obviously got secrets that we don't know about in the beginning of the book, and as the book goes on, like, you know, you find out a little bit more. I feel like they were a little obvious, but I mean, still good. But yeah, they team up and they try and play the game so that Envy can save his house, and so she can, we don't know what she wants to do, what she wants to get out of it, other than she has that magical ability to like paint these objects, and she loses her magic, so she wants to get it back. But yeah, that's like a very vague description of what the book is about. But essentially that's really all that happens, is they team up and they're trying to play this game to get to their end goals, right? Their different end goals. I will say my favorite characters in this were not the FMC, not the MMC, not any of his brothers, or it was Alexei. Remember Alexei, the vampire, Envy's second, that we meet in the first trilogy? I loved him. And then we have a new character that we didn't see in the trilogy. His name's Wolf. And I won't tell you who he is, but yeah, Wolf. I really liked Wolf. I think he was my favorite, followed by Alexei. I gave it 3.5 stars. I will continue on though to Throne of Secret, which is coming out very soon, or might even be out already by the time that you see this, because the way that I'm filming this is taking forever. But now we have 2 books left. So it's either Harrow the Ninth or The Nightingale. It's going to be Harrow the Ninth. I am still, you know, going to leave The Nightingale for the end. Harrow, though, I will say, I've already tried starting that book. This is going to be the 3rd time. First, I started it on audiobook. Mistake. Then I started reading the ebook and I ended up falling asleep. Not because it wasn't interesting, but because it's, dang, I feel like I'm gonna have to use the little peanut brain for that one. It's written in second person. At least the beginning has been in second person, and I've never read anything in second person. It's time for probably our only update for Harrow the Ninth. As you can see, I'm almost done with it. But man, so this book is told in parts, just like Gideon the Ninth. We have 5 parts. And Act 1, I felt like it was okay. I was super confused. I was getting used to the second person perspective because this is second person POV, which I know a lot of people don't like. I had never read anything that was second person. It was a little weird, but you do get used to it. I got used to it. By Act 3, I was completely used to it. It starts off really freaking weird, and it doesn't just start off weird. It is weird. It is definitely, to me, in my opinion, a lot harder to read than Gideon the Ninth. A lot harder. Gideon the Ninth, the only hard part about that was that there were so many characters that you had to keep up with. But it was pretty straightforward. Like, the writing style, it was what you would expect from any old book, right? This is trippy. Of course, we will talk about it in the final thoughts. But for now, I did want to say that Act 2... Act 2 is when I gave up. Like, I powered through Act 1, and then Act 2, I was like, no, I'm not going to DNF this book. You will not take me down. But the reason I say I gave up was because I was trying to read it, like, physically or on my Kindle so that I could fully pay attention because I learned my lesson with Gideon the Ninth. I just was like, I have to do what I have to do to power through. So I turned on the audiobook for Act 2 and I played The Sims. And that's all I did. And do I know what happened in Act 2? No. Because I basically tuned it out. I was just like, da 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 da. We're just going to get through Act 2. And honestly, like, I don't know if there was something important in Act 2 or not. I doubt it. I was like hella confused, which is why I tuned out. But so far, I've got to say it's pretty good. Like, damn. For sure, this is not going to be for everyone. 100% not going to be for everyone. It is very different than your average read. I'm hot. I just ate like super boiling hot soup, which was delicious, but I'm hot now. I don't want to take off my sweatshirt though, because I'm committed to wearing a bookish sweatshirt for the video. But I did pick up my hair and slipped on glasses because I'm done. I'm done with the day. So I did listen to the audiobook while I was eating, and I don't want to speed it up because she has like a British accent, and if I speed it up, then I get a little lost, especially because this book does have some words that, you know, they're just not in my vocabulary. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm almost done, and I hope that I get explanations, because at this point, girl, like, I'm still lost. I have gotten answers to some things, but there's still other things that I'm like, what is happening? And how is it gonna end? I just, it's that type of book where I'm like, what is going on? I feel like at this point I should already be figuring it out, and I'm a little slow today, but let's keep going. Okay, I just finished Hair of the Ninth, and I don't even know how to feel about it. Did I love this? Did I not? I don't know. If you've read this, then you know what a crazy freaking trip it was. I felt like I was lost, confused, and unsure the entire way, until the very end. In the very end, I felt like, okay, everything came together. But even at that, I'm still left wondering a couple things, and I can't even talk to you about them because I will spoil the book. But there is, at the very, very end, we have like some bonus footage. And if you skip all that, at the very, very end, which I'm gonna cover one of the words, the name that says it's gonna return, because I don't know, just in case you haven't read it, but let me see. I think I'm covering it there. Do you see that? So based on that, I think we know who it is. that is returning in Nona the Ninth. And the fact that the ninth is struck through on Nona, I think just, because who is not our ninth. So I think we can rest assured we know who Nona is, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, the way that ends, that epilogue, and why Nona's body, I don't know. I get, like I said, I can't talk about it without just spoiling everything, but what a trip, man. Tamsin Muir is just so much smarter than I am, than I will ever be. It was insane. And I feel like I don't fully love her writing. I feel like a lot of it is a bit much, but the story, man, it gets me. And it's funny because I started this book 4 times before it stuck. And then Act 2, I was like, I don't know where I was. I wasn't even present. But then it got me, and I ended up giving this 4 stars. Which, how? I started this 4 times. I debated whether I should DNF it so many times, and I ended up giving it 4 stars. It's crazy. It truly is crazy. I feel like I need to buddy read Nona the Ninth with someone. And then book 4 is Alecto the Ninth. Alecto. I need to look up the characters again, but if I'm thinking Alecto is who I'm thinking it is, what? I thought Alecto was dead. I don't know anything at this point, but damn. I definitely do prefer Gideon the Ninth, though. I will say Gideon the Ninth, I like Gideon as a character a lot more than Harrow, although I don't dislike Harrow. But Gideon's funny. Gideon is so funny. And never mind. I almost spoiled something. But anyway, I'm going to move on to The Nightingale. I just have this physically. I just hope that I will finish it and that I won't DNF it. Because if you've been following my Bookshelf Ultimatum videos, you know that the historical fiction books usually get DNF'd. Can we break the cycle? Hopefully. Good morning. Happy Thursday. I do have an update for The Nightingale. I am on page 212, chapter 16. So like a third of the way in. I think is fair. And I've got to say, when I first started this, I wanted to DNF it because if you're new to my channel, then you probably don't know, but historical fiction is one of those genres that I just don't really jive with. Like, I have tried to like historical fiction many times, and I just don't. I have unhauled our historical fiction picks for the past 2 Bookshelf Ultimatums, and I feel like this is it. This is my chance to either love historical fiction or just fully give up on it, because everybody loves this book. Everybody has this as like one of their favorite books ever. So if I don't like this, it's time to let go. That being said, I do like historical fiction settings when it's like period, like romances, like Bridgerton vibes, although I don't love those books. But my point is, when it's just the setting, the period, it's okay. But when it's very historical fiction centric, like this one is World War II centric, I just don't love it. And it's kind of like, in this, if you don't know what this is about, we follow 2 sisters. We follow Isabel and we follow Vianne, and we really have 3 main characters. We have Isabel, we have Vianne, and then we have World War II. Because World War II, the events of the war are huge. It's like its own thing. It is molding our story. It is affecting the main characters' lives. And yeah, I don't love that, because that's why I read fiction, because I don't love reading about real world events and stuff like that. It just gives me anxiety. And this is fiction, but you get it, right? You get what I'm trying to say. But essentially in this we follow Isabel and Vianne. Vianne is the older sister. She's living a quiet life with her husband and her daughter in a little town in France. And Isabel is the total opposite. She's rebellious. She's like 18, rebellious. She's like always getting kicked out of her schools because she's just too much. Like, she's just too much. Her dad doesn't want anything to do with her because he doesn't want to deal with her. So when World War II really kicks up in France, he ends up sending her to live with her older sister. And she's just really unhappy there because she feels like she's just lying low. She's being complacent. She's not helping France win this war. And she just gets restless. But the breaking point is when Germany occupies France. The French surrender, Germany occupies France, and there's so many German soldiers everywhere. And they end up taking in a German soldier, not willingly. He's like, I'm gonna live here now. And if you don't like it, then you can move out. So she gets super pissed. She's always fighting with Vienne, and Vienne's like, you need to calm down because I need to think about my daughter. So they're always at odds with each other. Isabel ends up going back to France. And that's where I'm at, right? Obviously, I left out a bunch of stuff because I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but nothing really has happened. We haven't had anything big happen. We've just been introduced to our characters, to their backstory, who their friends are, stuff like that, what they do in their daily lives. And now I feel like it's gonna go down. It's gonna happen. So we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna try and get all of this done today, or most of it, but it is a thick book. It is 560 some pages long, so I'm gonna try my best to get this done. It's a chill day. It's a, no makeup day, but I do need to do a couple of chores. I started A Faked in Blood by Danielle Jensen on audiobook, and I've only read like the first 10%, but it started off strong, like fast paced. So I kind of want to read that, but I'm gonna focus completely on this today and let you know how it goes. Hopefully, like I said, I want to love it. Everybody says at the end of this is brutal. Like everybody's like sobbing, crying. And again, if you know me, you know that I have never cried in media, essentially. I don't really feel for these fictional characters as strongly as your average person. But I want to, I want to get super emotionally invested in their lives and their stories and, really feel for them. Right now, I don't care. Where we're at right now, I don't really care if they live, if they die. I'm assuming one of them at least is gonna die. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I want to love it. I want to love it. This is my last shot. So fingers crossed that it's gonna deliver. And you know what? I shouldn't even say that because I'm sure it's gonna deliver, but let's hope that I like it, because I feel like we all know, general consensus, this is an amazing book. That's why everybody loves it. But let's just hope that it works for me, that I love it. Hi, it's a couple of hours later, actually quite a bit of hours later. I did do some reading. Not a lot, but I am now halfway, so I guess I read like a quarter more of the book. I'm on page 260, chapter 19. So it really is like halfway at this point, and I am now in it. I listen, I'm starting to get it. I'm in it. We have been following Isabel, her story the most recently in this quarter of the book. And like I told you, Isabel's the sister that's like really rebellious, really wanting to be involved in the war. That's the one we're following, but I'm sure at some point we'll switch back. Don't worry, I won't like spoil myself, but yeah, I see her name. So at some point soon in the next like 50-ish pages, we'll switch back and check up on the other sister that stayed behind in the small little town. But yeah, I'm into it. I'm into it right now. I feel like we had a couple of little reveals. They weren't like crazy or anything. I feel like you could tell. But I liked it. I liked the connection that was made between her and her dad. Yeah, I mean, not much to say so far because I only read like a quarter more of the book. But I am gonna definitely read this tonight. I do need to do a little bit of editing. So I probably won't read this again till like 10-ish. I'm gonna prep food now. My husband wants macaroni, and I just checked the fridge to make sure I had all the dairy I needed for that, and I do. So I'm gonna do that, but I defrosted fish, so I guess fish, veggies, and mac and cheese. morning, happy Saturday. I'm filming this clip pretty early because I want you to see this video today. And I'm simultaneously filming another reading vlog. It's the book club exclusive vlog because I'm starting Quicksilver, but I've been filming since I woke up because I wanted that vlog to be more kind of like FaceTiming, kind of like we're just chatting type of deal. So yeah, I'm excited to start Quicksilver because a couple people in the club already finished it and I need to catch up. So I'm excited, but we have to recap and then we have to end the vlog so that you can see it. But yeah, if you're not in our book club, you should totally join. It's completely free and it's over on Fable and I've had a good time. So I don't know, I'm excited. But The Nightingale, I ended up giving this 3 stars. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because I felt like what I told you is enough. Like, it's a very straightforward story. We do have 2 timelines. We have a present timeline of 1995. And then we have the past, the 40s, when World War II is happening. And we mostly are in the past timeline. But it was a good time. It was okay. I feel like if you like historical fiction, then you will love it. But as someone who doesn't like historical fiction, I thought it was just okay. And I gave it 3 stars. What I thought was going to happen happened. It was predictable. It was straightforward. And I don't regret reading it. That being said, I will be unhauling it because this book taught me 2 things about myself. So I'm thankful for the 2 things that it taught me. The first one is I'm not a historical fiction girl. I'm just probably never gonna be one. Never say never though, but for now I'm not. And I realized that with this book, if this very, very beloved popular book, what I consider like the cream of the crop when it comes to historical fiction in terms of popularity, if it doesn't work for me, then I need to just let it go. And so I am. I'll be unhauling this and listing it on my Pango because there's no reason to keep it if I'm never going to reread it ever. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that I'm just not super empathetic, emotional person with the fictional characters. I felt like if I was going to cry, it was going to be here because from what I hear, everybody cries in this book. And I never felt like crying, but it could be that I just didn't care about the characters. I didn't feel any emotional connection. But again, that's a very me thing to be so detached. So yeah, if you like historical fiction, if you're empathetic and all that, then you're gonna love it. I don't want you to think, oh, she gave it 3 stars, it's probably just mid. No, girl, like everybody loves this book. This is very much a me thing. But yeah, final book. So I did bring my reading journal so we can do a little recap because like I said, I've been filming this video for like a month, maybe more than a month. So we started off the vlog with Happily Never After, and honestly it was probably the best one we've had yet, right? I think so. We had a lot of popular books, a lot of beloved books, and pretty good ratings. Nothing was under 3 stars. I'm thinking of unhauling Happily Never After, but I might reread it in the future because it's literally under 300 pages, so I don't know, but I'm gonna keep it for now. And we gave that one 3 stars, right? Oh, I read it in the very beginning of the month. Yeah, 3 stars. It was cute. It was fast. It was not very serious. Not the best book ever, but if you have time, it's such a short little book that I think it's good for like if you're taking a short trip or something, you can finish it in the one trip. And then we read after that Belladonna. No, I didn't love Belladonna. The reason I'm like saying that I loved it is because I loved Foxglove, because I did read it and I gave Belladonna 4 stars. I gave Foxglove 4.25 stars and I cannot wait to read Wisteria because from what I hear, they just get better and better and I'm expecting Wisteria to be my 5-star read. But I think I'm gonna film a series, like reading all the series, finishing all the series I'm reading vlog. And because I have quite a bit that I'm ready to wrap up, so I expect that in the future. And then what do we move on to? I don't have them in order. Like as you can see, I've read 106 books so far this year. But what was after that? Oh yeah, Throne of the Fallen. In between Belladonna, I read 1, 2, 3 3 books and then Throne of the Fallen, because I'm always reading multiple books at the same time. Throne of the Fallen was good. It was, you know, it was okay. I gave it 3.5 stars. I do want to continue on to the rest of the series, but I'm not very hyped about it, you know? If you like romantasy, you'll like it. It's a fun time, but it's not great. Although a lot of people do love it. I just thought it was okay. And then we moved on to Harrow the Ninth. What a freaking trip, man. What a freaking trip. I'm so ready for Nona the Ninth. Like, the way that Harrow the Ninth leaves off, I was like, damn. That was a good ending. That was a good ending. And that is the reason that I gave it 4 stars. Because I was like, ooh, I'm in this. I'm in this. I need to read Nona the Ninth. And I'm wondering now what it's going to be like. Because Gideon was straightforward, but there were so many characters. Harrow was confusing as hell. You don't know anything that's going on until the end. And then everything clicks into place. And you're like, well, damn. What's Nona gonna give us? I know it's gonna give us something. The woman is amazing. And then we ended with The Nightingale, 3 stars. It was okay. I've given up on historical fiction. Not to say that I'm not gonna read anything. Like I said, period romances, they're still good. But yeah, successful week. Thanks so much for hanging out. I am gonna go ahead and film some TikToks, and then I'm gonna get ready to read Quicksilver for book club and film the reading vlog, all my reactions as I read the entire book. I'm so excited. But thanks for hanging out. Give the video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon with another one. Bye.